Just want to go over my pre-market game plan going into tomorrow, and I'll do my best to do a session recap of today. So pretty slow day all around, but a lot of key opportunities. The way I see it is today was a day where opportunities are setting up for tomorrow. So kind of a slow morning for me at least. Very tired, as you know. Born and raised, live here in Los Angeles, and that Dodgers game did not end until like a little bit after midnight, but we walked away with the W. So hopefully we can take the lead 3-1 today against the Blue Jays. So let's get into it. Tomorrow we have FOMC. So typically I don't really trade on that day, but my job as a trader is to show up and react, not predict. But I'm not expecting too much to go on tomorrow, but we will see tomorrow. So coming into today's session, I've been saying that there's no more key levels on the SPY and on the Qs. There's no more higher time frame key levels. This thing is gapping up, it's moving higher, and we've been seeing that. So I said, if you want to really trade this name, you got to look for entries off the previous day high and the previous day low pullbacks. So you can see we did try defending this. We slipped under a little bit, but what do I always preach? When we're trending, whether it's the upside or the downside, and we fell a key level and we reclaim it, that fuels that move higher. So it's been very hard to trade these names. I honestly haven't been looking to trade them, but all you're doing is looking for pullback longs off of previous day highs and previous day lows. The reason I've been teaching you as well is, you want to play next day expiration on these contracts because it's hard to sit in that on a 0 DTE. Right? This is over an hour of just straight consolidation. So you want to play next day or even end of week expiration contracts if you want to trade the SPY and the Qs right now, just because they're sitting at all-time highs. You don't know how they're going to react. The market is gapping up pretty much day after day. The one thing I do like about today's session on the SPY is, we did fill the gap. We pulled back to this previous day high, filled the gap, reclaimed it, and as you can see, we ended up trending higher. So coming into tomorrow, if you're looking to trade this name, really the same thing as today. All you're doing is looking for a pullback long off the previous day low or a break and retest over the previous day high if you are looking to trade this name. But as you know, you are not looking to short this name. Now, kind of crazy. I mean, we've really been gapping up. This thing is moving to the upside. Eventually, I am expecting some type of downside to fill these gaps. But as of right now, as we always know, the trend is your friend. So just pay attention to the previous day high and the previous day low. Same thing here on the Qs. Today, the Qs did not fully fill this gap. You can see here, didn't fully fill the gap. And then clearly, we have this gap here on the Qs as well. So same thing going into tomorrow. If you want to trade this name, you're looking for a break and retest over the previous day high, which is now the all-time high, or a pullback long off the previous day low. So even today on the intraday on the Qs, you can see not really the best price action. And then later into the session, we started to get that nice trend continuation to the upside. So I thought it was just going to be a chop type of day. Tomorrow we got the Fed speaking, but we ended up trending and moving higher. I mean, you can clearly see this thing is moving higher. This thing is trending higher, which is crazy to see. So like I said, same thing on the SPY. You're just looking for a break and retest over the previous day high or pullback long off of this. Be cautious tomorrow though. It's FOMC. We are technical analysis traders. As we know, news invalidates technical analysis. So just be very cautious. I know some people wait, till after 11 a.m., which is my time, when the Fed speak and then look to take a trade. But, tomorrow just be very cautious if you're trading the overall market. Very cautious. AMD, nothing up here. I've looked on the higher time frame. I've looked on the 4 hour. There's no key levels yet. So we're just being patient. You can clearly see we still need, we gapped up. There's a lot of gaps around the market. We gapped up. So we still need this pullback to 240.10. And I'm going to be very patient because if we get this pullback to 240.10, that is a potential swing trade. The trend is your friend, where we can target, this all-time high or, these unmitigated liquidities up here, this high, and that high. So just being very patient. Like I've been preaching, if you really want to trade these names that's sitting up here, you can take a break and retest off the previous day high. As you know, I don't trade off those levels for obvious reasons, but you can look for a break and retest off the previous day highs if you're looking to catch these names. Now, something that I do say, because I want to teach you, good habits to create healthy habits and longevity. If you're entering up here, just in my opinion, you're entering late to the party. We've seen on NVIDIA, we've seen on Tesla, the pullback longs those are the A+ trades targeting the top of the ranges and targeting these all-time highs. So that being said, I'm just hands off the same on AMD. I'm just waiting for, more price to develop to create a key level, at least on the 4 hour time frame, which we do not have yet, or, just a pullback long down here. So just hands off on this name. There's nothing for me. But like I've said, with the SPY and the Qs, if you're looking to take a trade on this name, you're just looking for a pullback long off the previous day low or break and retest off the previous day high. NVIDIA, beautiful, beautiful. Main new all-time highs. Like I said, pullback longs are the A+ entries. We saw this together yesterday. This was the A+ long. If you go watch the live trading session today, we break this down pretty thoroughly. The same setup that we saw today on Tesla, I correlated this to NVIDIA where this happened yesterday. This is why this is the A+ long. Right? If you enter this trade, key level to key level, let some runners, you never would have got stopped out for break even. You never would have been in drawdown. If you let those runners, turn into swing trades and you understand market structure and how price is moving, you catch this trade. Even today on the pullback, you entered down here, you're not going to be in any drawdown. This trade will still be valid. So tomorrow, I'm looking for pullback longs here. Now, the one thing that I do like about NVIDIA, let's go on the 15. What do I always say? Straight up equals straight down. There's a lot of thin volume in here. A lot of thin volume. We ended up kicking off around 10 o'clock in the morning. I was long gone by then. So tomorrow, I'm looking for this pullback long to 195.60. The reason I like this trade, not only is there a lot of thin volume in here that has to be filled, this is a great entry because we're not entering late to the party. If I take a break and retest off of this tomorrow, this all-time high, I've got to expect some type of pullback. When you enter down here, you're entering on the dip. You get what I mean? So this is a great RR trade. That's a valid trade. You're playing the pullback long, you're buying the dip, and you're targeting the top of this range. That's a solid trade, right? If you can get into this trade and position this 195 up to 203, that's a great RR trade. So that being said, if Nvidia just wants to, open tomorrow and continue higher, or just rip or gap up as well, because everything is gapping up, I'm hands off that name. As we know, kind of just like AMD, I'm just waiting for this pullback long. Just waiting for the pullback long. Today, I thought, we'll get that to 191.05. We almost did. I thought we got to 191.92, but buyer stepped up, which is, no surprise. This actually aligns with the previous day high. So buyer stepped up, and this thing just pushed higher. So tomorrow, if we don't approach any key levels on this name, I'm hands off. I'm just looking for a pullback long to this 195.60. If we fall under this, clearly we're not looking to short this name. I would just be looking for a pullback long off of this 191.05. Tesla, beautiful. I highly recommend going to watch that live trading session today. We break down a lot of good stuff in there. Now, same thing as Nvidia yesterday. Tesla is testing the patience, but I'm going to be disciplined. I'm not going to FOMO into anything. I'm going to trust my system and let my trade come to me. I feel really good about Tesla. We called it yesterday. I was like, I feel like this thing's going to break out, and it did. Now, let's go into yesterday. We ended up getting this breakout above 450. We know this is our key level. Clearly got that breakout, good displacement, but we never got that retest. You got it later into the session, so if you were able to catch that, swing trade this, you got paid very well. Obviously, I'm not trading, way into 1 o'clock p.m. And then today. So I break this down in the live trade session. We got that break and retest during the pre-market. That's something I've been noticing on a couple of these names. So, when you see the stock open and we just rip to the upside, you got to pay attention to the pre-market. We already broke, retested this level, and then when we open, we shoot to the upside. So today I skipped this trade, and I'll break down why. Right? There's a difference. I've been trying to teach there's a difference between skipping a trade and missing a trade. Skipping a trade means you do not believe it's worth the risk. Me, I'm a risk manager before I'm a trader. Whenever I enter a trade, I do not care about how much money I can make. I never think about that. I'm always thinking about how much money can I lose if this trade does not go my way, especially with the type of risk and capital that I'm trading with. So that being said, if you know how I trade, I let market structure take me out of my trades. I'm very patient with my stop losses. I recommend going to watch that live trading session from yesterday because you see how I managed that trade on Nvidia. So that being said, we ended up pulling back to 451.60. So this is $1.60 difference on a name like Tesla. And if I'm playing a strike or two out of the money, I'm thinking to myself, if this trade does not go my way, that is a very big stop loss. You got to understand, my stop loss would be like something like this. That's a lot of risk. That's a lot of risk exposure here. So I did not end up taking this trade because I don't want to practice bad habits. In hindsight, it's easy to say, oh, you should have took it. But if I enter here, at 452.79 and I'm entering into a momentum push, let's say I get filled, up here, my stop loss is way down here. That's a very big stop loss if that trade doesn't go my way. So I stayed patient. I sat on my hands. I did not FOMO into that. And sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. Now, the reason I bring up the pre-market is because this was the better pullback. If we got something like this, as you can see, this is 450.70. This happened around 1:30 a.m. This is a 70-cent difference, right? That's a better risk I'm willing to take on that trade. The tighter the risk, the better. As you always hear me say, the deeper the pullback, the better. So Tesla, this thing is in play. You can clearly see here our key low getting respected perfectly. That gives me confidence and conviction on my trades. I love to see that. In today's live trading session, I said, I really hope that, Tesla was trending. Let's just go here on the intraday. You can see Tesla had a very nice trendy day. So I said, I hope coming into tomorrow, we stay under this 466.50 because this is really our last key level before we make all-time highs. So coming into tomorrow, I'm looking for a break and retest over 466.50, targeting all-time highs. The reason for that being, one, great confluence. This is a daily resistance. We clearly see got respected on the intraday, and it's a previous day high. I love the confluence there. We are bullish bias on this name, or a pullback long off this 450. Now, let's go here on the daily, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You can clearly see, reaction here, wick comes up here. We had a peak and fell here on the 2nd of October. Yesterday, we wick, fell, and then today on the dot. As soon as we clear 466.50, what do you see? There's nothing in its way. There's nothing in its way to all-time highs. So, and we know when Tesla runs, it runs. For an example, today, from 450 to 467, that's a $17 move on Tesla. Almost a $20 move on the dot. So we've seen Tesla do it. I won't be surprised if we get over this level and just do that. Tesla's, in my opinion, catching up. Everything else has made all-time highs. AMD, Nvidia, Apple, Qs, SPY. Everything is rallying and making all-time highs, and Tesla's the only one that really hasn't yet. So, let's go here on the daily. We've already seen this before. These 2 days, when Tesla moves. It can really run. So tomorrow, if we get over this 466.50, there's literally nothing in its way. Still waiting for this pullback long off this 450. I'm looking for that entry there. The reason for that being is this is the A plus long, right? It's not up here. Well, actually, this is A plus long because we still have a long shot towards all-time highs. But what I mean is I want to be, I want to buy the dip. I want to be in here by the time we gravitate to this key level and here. So if we don't get that tomorrow, I won't be surprised. You can clearly see the last 2 days we have defended this level very well. You can clearly see that the last 2 days we defended this 450. So tomorrow, this is the valid shot. If some way, somehow, due to news or something, we end up falling under 450, obviously we're not looking to short this name with bullish bias. And if we fall under 450, we will be back into that channel. So the 2 key levels to watch here is this 466.50 and this 450 on Tesla. But this is definitely on my close watch list going into tomorrow. Palantir, like I said, I really recommend going to watch that live trading session today because we break this down in real time on why we skipped this trade. And it was a good skip because we definitely would have got stopped out here. But you can clearly see this 188, this weekly level is being respected very well. Now, tomorrow, if we, kind of sit in here again, now we're starting to consolidate a little bit. Because we'll be in between, this previous day high, this previous day low. We're still in between this high and low in today's session. And if we do that tomorrow, now we're definitely starting to form a channel. But coming into today, the game plan on this name was a pullback long off this 188. We break this down in real time. You can see here, not one candle closure under this level. Buyers really tried to defend this, but it was in sync with the Qs. Qs was pulling back. I thought Qs was going to fill the gap. It was trying to fill the gap. It almost did. And Palantir was in sync with that. So I skipped this, and clearly that was a good skip. But what do I always say? You guys should know this by now. Whenever we fail a key level and reclaim it, we see it every day. That fuels this move to the upside. These are shorts getting squeezed out of their positions, thinking, all right, we finally made all-time highs. This is the reversal play. No, they get squeezed out of their positions, and that fuels this move higher. We see that every single day. So that being said, waiting for some clean price action to come in on this name. I love the spreads here. The volume's there. The open interest is there. If we can get a pullback long off this 188, I really do like this name targeting, the previous day high and the top of this range, the all-time high. This thing is in play to the upside. We're obviously bullish bias on this name. On Monday, we never really got a retest here until the end of the session. Clearly, I'm not sitting there till then. Today, it was just not a good price action day on this name. It was pulling back with the Q, so it wasn't worth the risk for me. Thankfully, I passed this. You can see we clearly failed under this. So coming into tomorrow, this is the valid shot. If we get a break and retest over this 192.83 prior to coming back down here, I'm hands off this name because, like I say, we're already late to the party. I don't want to be in a trade up here. This down here, off this 188, this is the better RR trade. Hope that makes sense. Hood, still watching Hood. This was on my close watch list today. Terrible price action. That's expected. Tomorrow we got Fomc, so I'm not surprised. Terrible price action. But the reason I do like Hood, let me just go here. This thing can move. This thing can actually move. This thing has really good price action when it wants to move. I broke this down in the live session. This thing can trend when it wants to. The price action, not bad. You can see this was a pullback type of day, but the price action is clean here. So, the last 2 days have been a little choppy on this name. I'm not surprised. We gapped up on this name. Yesterday, we ended up getting this break and retest off of 146.70. And then today, all we did was flirt with this level. Let's go here on the 15-minute. Buyers tried to defend this thing, but as you can see, just a choppy session. We are long bias on this name. Let me go here on the daily. This is another name that also gapped up. You can clearly see here. And then 2 days in a row, this thing had gapped up. So remember me breaking down, as long as we're over 149, that was a breaker structure play. We got over this swing high. This thing is clearly bullish bias, and this thing has a shot towards all-time highs. It really does. So I'm watching Hood here. I'm looking for a break and retest over this over this 146.70 or a pullback long off this 140.15. But we are bullish bias on this name as long as we are above this 140.15. If we fall under this, then you can look to short this name, because then on the higher time frame, that would be a lower low. Amazon. Beautiful analysis here. Go back and watch, that pre-market video coming into today's session, the game plan video, and we broke this down beautifully. Now, like I said, this happened on the dot, which is great. If we get over this 228.35, this was a break of structure play. Let's go here on the intraday. Doesn't get better than that. Doesn't get better than that. Beautiful break, good displacement. We get that retest on the dot, straight upside. If you were able to catch this trade, congrats to you on that. You got paid very well. This is easily 100% return. This was a great trade. Beautiful analysis on this name. We are now bullish bias on this name. We are now over 228.35. This is a clear shot. So now that we're bullish bias on this name, let's go here. We clearly knew that today. Like I said, this was our no trade zone. I'll go here on the hourly so you can see that. Obvious reasons, this was our no trade zone. What do we want to see? We want to see the top of this channel turn into support. Beautiful break and retest today. That was on the dot. Now, something else that I like. It's on the dot. Our daily resistance level gets respected. What is the previous day high going into tomorrow? 231.49. What's the daily resistance prior to today's open? 231.50 on the dot. So now that we're bullish bias on the same, we're looking for a break and retest over this 231.50. The reason I like this is because of confluence. This is a daily resistance that's clearly respected and the previous day high. Today, zone, key level to key level. We moved from 228.35 up to 231. I'll just round it to 50. That is beautiful if you were able to catch that. So we're bullish bias on this name as long as we are above 228.35. If we fall under this, obviously this is our no channel, no trade zone, so we're not trading in that channel. So tomorrow, if you're looking, right, you can look for this 228.35 or a break and retest over 231.50. This is actually going to be on my close watch list as well. I'm just going to have this as a substitute for Apple, just because obviously not trading Apple or Google just due to them having earnings this week. So we're hands off on that name. So I will be actually looking at Amazon, replacing Apple, just to see if we can get a potential trade. But today was a beautiful setup. If you're able to catch that, congrats to you. Be careful going into tomorrow. It's FOMC, so just expect a little bit of choppiness, consolidation. I won't be too surprised if we get that, but our job is to show up and react, not predict.